Okay, so the question asked in number 2, they gave you, first of all, they're going to give you the reaction and you'll have to complete it. So we'll have to know our rules. So we know an acid plus a metal hydroxide gives me a salt and water. I need to do the whole cross multiplying thing, so there's a lot of involved here. Then we need to balance. If you don't balance correctly, then obviously it's going to have a huge impact on the way you do the calculation. Okay, then they're going to give you 3 things. So they give you the volume of the acid in this case, they give you the volume of the base, and they give you the concentration of the acid. And the question was to calculate the concentration of the acid needed to neutralize the base. Now, can someone put their hand up and just tell me, how would I work out the concentration of the acid, or what does it mean if you need the amount to neutralize the base? In terms of the way they react, when will these two things neutralize each other? If what happens? If they react in? Yeah, the correct mole ratio. Then they will neutralize each other. So what I mean by that, in case that doesn't make sense, if you have 1 mole of H2SO4, you will need 2 moles of NaOH to completely neutralize it. If you have 2 mole of H2SO4, you will need how many moles? 4 moles. So we have to, that's why it's so important to balance this correctly. We'll have to follow that correct mole ratio. The only way these two things are going to neutralize each other is if they react in the correct mole ratio with each other. I've just erased this one. What was this value here? 3. Thank you so much. Okay, so what do we start with? We start with the one we have the most information on. So we say N is equal to C times V. So the concentration of this is 0.3. The volume is 0.1. And it gives me 0.03 mole. Okay, then what do I do after that? Mole ratio, hey? So I have the moles of this one, so I divide by 2 times by 1. I'll just erase this to make space. So we're going to say the mole of this one is equal to 0.03 mole of NaOH divided by 2 times 1, and there's a mark for that. Okay, so make sure that you write that down. Even if it's a divide by 1 times by 1. And that gives me 0.015 mole, right? Okay, then I'm looking for the concentration. I'm just going to draw this triangle because I find people oftentimes get this triangle wrong because we're so used to mole being something divided by something. Okay, then C is equal to N over V. So the mole, 0.015 divided by the volume, which is 0.2. And then what did you guys get there? 0.08. Thanks so much. Mole per decimeter cube. Who got that right? Nice. Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one, they said calculate the volume of acid needed to neutralize the base. If it wasn't neutralized, then we couldn't do this question, right? Like it has to say it has to neutralize it. Okay, so let's start with the one we have most information on. Let's start here. So N is equal to C times V. So 0.3 times, okay, 100 mil. How do I convert that milliliter to decimeters cubed? Divide by 1,000. Well done. Because a milliliter, you're really trying to convert it to what? To a liter. A liter is the same as a decimeter cubed. Okay, if you didn't know that, write it down somewhere big. So when you do the whole King Henry died a miserable death called measles, okay, liters is nowhere on this thing, okay? But if you want, underneath the meters, you can write liters and you can write grams. So that if you're ever going from milliliters to liters, you're also doing 3 jumps. Or you could tell yourself that a milliliter is the same as centimeters cubed. And then that can help you convert. I'm basically just telling you, don't try and go from something that's cubed to something that's not cubed, or the other way. You're basically just saying, oh, okay, it's milliliters. Let me go to liters, because a liter is the same as a decimeter cubed. Okay, so divide by 1,000, you guys said, hey? So 0.1, which gives me 0.03 mole. Okay, I should actually finish the reaction first. Okay, so it gives me, what was my salt here? Nice. Okay, remember that's why it's so important to know our compound ions. Okay, that plus water. That's it. And then to balance, Nice. Okay, which is very important, obviously, for our calculation. And there's a 1 here. Okay, then we're going to go 0.03 mole of magnesium hydroxide divided by 1 times by 2, like that, okay, is equal to 0.06 mole of HNO3. And now I want the volume, so I go volume is equal to what over what? N over C, that's it. Okay, so my mole is equal to 0.06. My concentration is 0.2. And then what do you guys get there? 3. Awesome. And the unit? Just decimeter cube. So I'm just looking for volume. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Let's do another one. I'll leave that up if you're still writing that down. Okay, number 4. Okay, I'm going to put them into words now. I'm not going to put them into the table straight away because this is how they'll do it in a test, obviously. Okay, so calculate. Okay, I'll give you guys some time to do that. So your first job would be to draw your columns, write all the relevant information into a column like I've been doing, and then work out the unknown. Okay, so let's first write this into columns. Okay, let's write down what forms here. So what's the salt in this case, guys? LiO2SO4, nice, plus water. Then to balance, what did you guys do? 2 in front of the Li, and then 2 in front of the water. Nice. Okay. Then let's write this into columns. So to calculate the concentration of a base, okay, so I'm looking for the concentration of this. To neutralize 20 moles of sulfuric acid to the volume, immediately can we turn that milliliters into liters by dividing by 1,000? So it gives me 0.02 liters, which is the same as a decimeter cubed, with a concentration of 0.2 mole per decimeter cube. And if you have 40 moles of the base, so that gives me 0.04 decimeters cubed. Okay, so just erase all this so that it looks a little bit nicer and neater. Okay, so I'm looking for the concentration of the base. So what did you guys start with? What did you work out first? The mole of this one, hey? The mole of the one that you have information on. So N is equal to C times V. So the concentration was 0.2, the volume is 0.02, and that gives you guys 0.004. You're welcome to put that into scientific notation. So 4 times 10 to the negative 3. Then you can do mole ratio. So you're going to go 0.004 mole of H2SO4 divided by 1 times by 2. So divide by the one you're with times by the one you're going to. So divide by 1 times by 2, which gives me 0.008 moles of LiOH. And then I'm looking for the concentration. So C is equal to N over V. Okay, so the mole is 0.